But I was trying to tell them,
you're gonna be sold again. Who you think sold you first?
that and what fucking job you gonna work?
Homie, listen.
They don't got the damn jobs for their own people.
Do you see how they look at you here now?
Yeah.
When you go over there, it's gonna be 10 times as worse.
Yeah, they be clowning me.
Your body and your immune system cannot withstand the bacteria and the disease that Africa holds. You have a white boy immune system. You're gonna go over there and catch every kind of disease they got, nigga. Nigga, that immunization shots the white boy gave you, why you think you go over there they gotta give you one of these?
I remember when I went to Ghana, it was hard for me to breathe at first.
Come on, homie. Why everybody go there and get sick?
But my thing is too, what I was telling black people is, for one, they don't accept us over there. For two, where the hell are you going to work? Because if you think there's a whole bunch of poor people on the damn streets outside, like how this building is right here. You're gonna see a bunch of motherfuckers with shit on top of their head selling shit and selling fruits and nuts and all that shit.
Listen,
so I'm like, so what makes you think if a million of us go over there, we gonna get hired before they do?
Anywhere you go, and you're not the native language, you're enslaved to the people of the native language. So you don't speak the white boys English. Even today, we speak English, but when it's time to speak their English, it's in the court system. We don't understand terminologies of law. That's their language. The only way to...
Hi, hello, how are you doing today? Navigator here. Today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite subjects, which is black liberals, Democrats, one of these black people who went to Africa after the George Floydification of this nation, who went to Africa trying to think that they would build Wakanda. They tried to build Wakanda, quickly realizing that, yeah, it's impossible. Because, yes, even though we have sent billions and billions into Africa, it is still a third world asshole. Yeah, it didn't take them long to realize, yeah, Africa sucks. Because not only that, economy sucks, they tend to realize that even though here in America, they want to, just because a lot of slaves came over from Africa, from West Africa, they all bunch them in together here and saying that you're all black, so you must have racial solidarity. As soon as you reach Africa, as soon as you get in the airport, on the plane, that all goes away. And this woman over here, she's about to explain to you what it really feels like as soon as you reach Africa, which, in my opinion, this basically sounds like the segregated South. But honestly, way worse, honestly, in my opinion. And they can't even blame racism because, yeah.
There are Americans coming over here being nasty, doing nasty things, and being bad to the locals. Now, let me flip the script, okay? Let's talk about the fact that we get abused over here, too. The thing about Ghana is stop crying victim. Stop crying victim, because y'all cheat us out of a lot of stuff. Y'all invited us to come home, which by the thousands we did. We came running to Ghana. People sold their homes, moved out of their apartments, sold everything. Some people packed up containers and moved over here just to get over here and realize this is not our home. Y'all call us foreigners. Ghanaians call us that. We didn't make that word up. We didn't start calling ourselves that. We don't know that that's what y'all call the white people and the Chinese because we're not around them. But we know that that's what y'all call us. I ain't never heard the word before, Toby, till I came to Ghana. Okay, y'all invite us home. Let's talk about what y'all do to us. Starting from the before we get to the airport, we gotta have a visa that we pay for to even enter our home. We pay all this money for passports and visas to get here. We get to the airport, and as soon as you see a blue passport, everybody's coming for us. Can you give me something small at the COVID place? You get to immigration. Can you give me something small? You get to baggage. Can you give me something small? I have never seen nowhere in any country or state where people have openly, it says $60 for foreigners, $30 for locals, okay? You go to Cocoon Park, and I don't remember the price. Let's say $200 for foreigners, because that's what y'all call us, $40 for locals. You go to the castle, it's $60 for foreigners, $10 for locals. I ain't never seen that nowhere. I ain't never went nowhere in the U.S., Mexico, and Canada where it said you pay, if you a local, if you're from here, you pay $3 for a Coca-Cola, but if you're a foreigner, you pay $8 for a Coca-Cola. I ain't never seen that nowhere, except Ghana.
Well, one thing I do want to say, this woman was foolish. Like, to believe that you, an American, can go to an African country without a visa, because no matter what, they're always going to see you as foreigner. they're always going to see me as a foreigner. They do not consider people who aren't from Africa Africans, which I'm okay with. I don't want to be African. Let's be honest. It's a complete asshole and terrible. And to believe that you can just go in there and you won't be a foreigner is foolish. Like, imagine an Asian American trying to go to China and have them accept them immediately. No. As soon as you get in there, they're going to spy you because you're American. And not only that, in Africa it's worse because as soon as they see that blue passport and they know you're American, to them, an American means you're rich. So they're always going to try to fleece off you. They're always going to try to steal you. They're always going to try to target you, take your money, and honestly just abuse you because you're an American. And because Africa has a culture that's honestly, it's just tribal, savage. Yeah, that's it. Savage. Their slums are 100 billion times worse than our slums. And I can tell you why. Africa is incredibly corrupt. It's not called the dark continent because the blacks. It's called the dark continent because it's the darkest continent, because it's the most corrupt one. All of them, honestly, are so corrupt. The public has so little trust in anything. They'll do anything they can just to get by with scratch. So they go with short-term gains and screw up long-term renewals, like the inner cities. You know how, like in the inner cities, a lot of these blacks don't even try for anything else and just go straight to crime because they want that short-term gain, even though it hurts them long-term. With either them being by turn it off and this collapse of all these liberal blue cities where all the blacks live. It's kind of show how our education system has failed, because anyone with any bit of knowledge of Africa, not even a lot, just know a little bit of it to know that, yeah, if you're a foreigner, they hate you. It's no joke. It's legit just the South back then here in America, but more because the liberal media will never talk about it, because if it's black on black racism, they don't care, which is a fact. But yeah, if you're a foreigner, it's not worth it living in America. And she was honestly surprised by that. But the other problem that this was caused by is simple. We have the whole Wakanda-based African Americans who want to say that this country is the most racist country in the world, and how blacks should go back to the fatherland and go back to their home, and then they realize it was all just a lie, because let's be honest, that's what it is. It was a grift, and they fell for it. They fell for it because honestly, these people must be low IQ, especially since it seemed like they never researched it. And next year, we're gonna have this guy who also moved to Africa, and he's talking basically the same thing, and he gives like 3 important reasons why you should never ever move to Africa, because it's not worth it.
You should not move to Africa if you expect to feel welcomed. You see, I had the exact same skin tone as a lady. Nobody around the world can mistake me for anything other than a black man. In particular, those who come with a Pan-Africanist mindset. Because you're coming over here thinking we are one, we are brothers, we are the same. I'm here to uplift, I'm here to help, I'm here to build. Right? These are words that are very common in the Pan-African community. And then when you get to Africa, you realize you're looked at as an Mzungu, right? A white person. And it's so disheartening because you're being overcharged, you're being scammed, you're being looked at as an opportunity, right? You're being left out of certain conversations that you might have wanted to be involved in. And a lot of this honestly can be avoided though if you just know the real, honest, raw truth about moving to the continent of Africa.
Yes, but the problem with that is that there are a lot of blacks in America who honestly lie and fantasize about Africa. Like, yeah, I have someone in my family who legit say that Africa's a great country and a great nation, can beat the U.S. in a war. But like, yeah, that's not true. It's honestly the poorest continent for a reason. And yeah, there's no such thing as racial solidarity, because the Africans people have been by turning it off each other for generations. There's a reason Africa can be the most powerful continent in the world, but it won't happen. Why? Because they still believe in tribal politics. That's it. That's the only reason. They can't get united because for generations they still go on blood feuds, and basically the whole they're savages, let's be honest. They go still on blood feuds. That's why they can't unite. It's a good thing for us, but yeah, there's no such thing as racial solidarity, because if you're all black, then yeah, don't matter. And if you're American, they see you as less, because in their mind, you're not black. Hell, in their mind, you're most definitely just a white person. And which is ironic, Because like I bet you these are some of the people who left America to go try to build Wakanda are the same ones who kept saying that yes, America is the most racist country in the world, but then they come over to Africa and then they experience real racism. And it really does show that they absolutely do not really tell the truth about Africa at all. Because if they did, no one would give them money, and no one would move there. And yeah, and they would lose their biggest scam because Africa really only exists via scamming and victimhood. And that's why they feel like they can do whatever they want because no one will care. Which, and that is true. No one cares about Africa. I mean, I don't. I absolutely do not. But like, it's their own fault because look at them. And then he's gonna keep going and explain why you should still not be in Africa because it's not even a real country. It's not. None of them are real countries. Let's be honest. They're all third world. Let's let them stay in the third world. Let's let them continue attacking each other with their rocks and sticks and let them do their own thing. I really don't care.
So recently, I met a Black American woman who's been living here in Uganda, and she owns some land here and has been hiring locals to help, develop it and build it. She's paying them more than they would earn if they work for other people in the area. She is paying them on time, which is super, super rare here in Uganda. And then number three, she hires like local women in the area to cook for the employees so that they can eat while they're working. The workers keep stealing from her. They take the tools that she buys and they go to town and sell them. She buys 10 bags of concrete, but somehow only 6 of them end up on a work site. So now she has to watch everyone like a hawk. This brings me on to reason number one why many Black Americans leave Africa is, well, they feel like they're at a constant disadvantage. Most Africans that I've met believe that Black Americans are a result of white people and African people breeding together. And Mzungu means like white man. They believe it's perfectly acceptable to lie to the Mzungu, to steal from the Mzungu, to mistreat the Mzungu. And the logic they use to justify this or to make it okay is, well, you have money and I don't. And you see, being an American means you earn dollars, and earning dollars means, in eyes of locals, you are rich.
Which is why we should stop sending money to Africa. Because just like in all the liberal cities or the black cities where they don't, let's be honest, many of the blacks in the gangs, they don't try for anything else. They just go straight to that because it's just easier. The problem with Africa and their mentality is they're going to go for the easiest thing without anything trying. Like with that woman who was buying that stuff. That also proves two things. We're different from them. She went out of her way to help them try to build a business, build them back up, and help them into doing something. But no, they cheated her, stole some stuff just so they can make a few quick bucks. And then probably got lost out of that for good. Because they do not have the capitalist mindset like us, and they're not willing to take sacrifice, which is a fact. And I see the same thing, let's be honest, with the ones from down south, you know what I mean? And that's Africa. That's why they can't grow. That's why they'll always be what they are. They would rather cheat each other than actually build anything. Which, let's be honest, was something that Africa built. And don't even say anything from Egypt because, let's be honest, they're not black. Like, we all know they're not. And it always get me that these people always look so deer in the headlights when they experience real racism. Because no matter who you are, if you're an American and you look like me and you go to Africa, that's what you're going to experience. They will not see you as the same. They will treat you like an outsider. The stuff that they say about America, that's probably why they left to Africa to try to build Wakanda, which can't happen because, let's be honest, they would, if they got if every country in the world gave them enough money to build Wakanda, it would all get stolen. We all know that. If every country in the world gave them wood to build Wakanda, the wood would get stolen. It don't matter. They're going to steal it. But yeah, they always go back to America. But then some of them still want to say, we're racist. But some of them do come back and realize, yeah, I was lied to. Which does seem to be most of them because they can never stay. Like, ever. And because the whole thing about the whole Zucchini thing, that is 100% racist. But you'll never see the media talk about it because, let's be honest, the media hates whites and is okay with blacks doing anything. Even if it's by turning off a bunch of Christians in Nigeria. Oh, they'll never talk about that either. You'll never hear the pro-Africa blacks talk about that either. But in all fairness, I think at this point, the pro-blacks who are, let's be honest, whenever you hear me say pro-blacks, just remove black and put Democrat. The pro-blacks means pro-Democrat. The pro-Democrats obviously do hate Christians, so yeah, they have no problem with a bunch of them being by turning it off. And now he's going to talk about the last reason why you shouldn't go to Africa, which, let's be honest, we all know why. No one wants to say why, but we all know why no one wants to live into Africa and why no one who leaves it ever goes back.
So that brings me on to reason number 3 why many Black Americans decide to leave Africa, and that is there are better options. You see, of course, I'm not going to pay $7,500 for a piece of paper that lets me stay in a country that doesn't even provide me with stable electricity. What you end up doing is you look for other options in other countries, and you find that there's way better options. For example, in Paraguay, all I have to do is go there with a birth certificate, go there with a background check from the FBI, and they're going to issue me a 2-year temporary residence permit. And after those 2 years, I get a 3-year residency permit. And after those 3 years, I'm able to apply for citizenship. If you want to get citizenship in Africa, you basically have to figure out how to walk on water, because you need to be doing miracles. And to make things even crazier, is like with these places that are offering you easy residency, easy citizenship, the malls are nicer, the roads are nicer, the quality of life is better. But many people actually watch videos that talk about an African country. They paint it as if it's all rainbows and sunshines, but when they get to the country, it ends up being a lot of power outages and cow poop. And as a result of that, it's not what they signed up for, it's not what they anticipated, it's not what they wanted, and so they leave. And they leave in a super, super disappointing fashion.
Yeah, and yeah, I'm not surprised. Like, let's be honest, there's no place in the world that is honestly worse than living in Africa. Let's be honest. I would rather live in Russia than Africa. I mean, you could say communism, but communism, but at least I know I won't have to deal with that. Like, let's be honest. Yeah, they're racist, all right, but yeah, still better than Africa, because at least I have at least some running water and at least some food. I can't say the same about them, because like, let's be honest. Africa is at least a self-sufficient continent. They don't make money. They get their money from grievance. Like the Democrats and the pro-blackity blacks, let's be honest, pro-Democrats in the inner cities. Because just like the inner cities, we've given Africa billions in money. But you will not get your way out of this by giving them money. You want to know how you stop it? And welfare. Cut off their money and let them starve it out, or they'll build. Either way, I don't care. Because and something else we really need to do is we really do need to fix the education system in this country, because we really, without a doubt, blacks in this country, the United States, they really do not understand A, history, or B, how Africa really is. They probably think Africa is Wakanda. Yeah, I'm positive about that. I am positive that a portion of the people who left America because they thought it was racist to live in Africa would be Wakanda, and then they get hit with reality. But anyone who lives in reality will tell you, yeah, that's what happened. Something else they won't talk about is how they still have slavery there too, and that they are committing a large mass by turning it off of Christians, black Christians, by the way. But again, they won't talk about that, because they hate whites and will let blacks do anything they want. And to finish this off, I'm going to go through the Bible with a passage that really does make sense. Hosea 4:6. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because you have rejected knowledge. And yeah, that's basically the black community who left this. But again, it's their fault. And you know what I always hate? They always come back. They always come back. Like, come on. You say you hate this country so much, then you go, but then you always come back. But enough about that, because you always get hit with reality. Well, this has been Navigator Podcast. Please come back again soon. Have a nice day.